go to the house. So it's over.
We're currently contacted with another car on the wall. It is a prerequisite and a requirement that we do send a medical vehicle out there because, as I've said a number of times, it is the priority of the series.
You okay? I feel like I'm going to throw up. Are you okay, hon?
Fine with this sport. I'm done with it.
No, you're not
Done racing.
Hey everybody, we're back. We're here to talk to you about Sonoma.
And racing and Fastlife. That's what we talk about.
For Sonoma, Derek and I decided that he was going to go ahead 3 or 4 days so that he could really focus in on everything. And then me and 2 of our girls were going to come later with my in-laws, Alan and Becky. And we left Paige, our oldest, behind to watch after 4 kids, 4 horses, a dog, a cat, a bunny. Anything else I'm missing?
Probably a bird.
Okay.
Something somewhere else, I'm sure.
Yeah. So anyways, she missed out, but the rest of us got to fly, and we brought a new addition to the Fastlife team with us. I've been praying for help for a really long time, and so we brought Alec along, and we had a new plan for shooting the weekend, and we were going to film and create a new teaser for our transition to YouTube. So that all was very interesting.
Normal, crazy, busy Sonoma weekend. That was part of the reason of going early, just because there's so much that goes into that race and how important it is for TRG being right in their backyard, home track. It tends to be the one that almost all of our sponsors come to. So we've got all the family, friends, sponsors, partners, wine dinners, party at the shop, all the stuff. And then on top of it, of course, wanting to put in a good show. So it was nice to get there early, get my head on straight, and be ready to go fast at a track that ordinarily would favor a car like the Porsche.
And tell us what happened, in just a few sentences, encapsulate your few days before we got there, because there was already a problem by the time we arrived.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm watching the second practice because our car is in shambles.
Oh no.
Yeah. I almost called you guys to tell you maybe even not to come, but I know this team and I know they're gonna get the car together somehow. There's parts don't even exist. Jim's off, hit the concrete wall pretty hard. It broke the transmission, rear subframe, a bunch of other stuff.
Wait, he's unfortunate. How is he? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. He's a little bit sore, but hanging in there. He's just more bummed, a little bit head down, as happens to a driver. When you have a wreck, you always wonder what you could have done different. It's a major bummer because we have so much stuff going on with that car. We have all the livery for the Portland promotion, and I really think I could have put it on pole position tomorrow. I was fastest in our whole West Coast class, even amongst the pros, by almost 2 seconds, and 3rd overall. And Dr. Jim was running as fast as Chris, who is who we really need to beat to get a first place. So everything's lining up for a first place.
I know, it's awful.
I know,
such
we're
a bummer.
getting really comfortable with the car. But get this, Kevin has already offered to bow out of his race and give us his car. But really, to stay where we're at in points, we just need to put it on the podium in our class. So at least by being out there, just simply by being out there and not making a mistake, we could likely end up on the podium. And if we get lucky, we still might be able to win in it. Or they might get the parts. They're literally trying to Uber a transmission from the Porsche Experience Center in Carson right now.
Oh my gosh.
Because nobody has one here for some reason.
How far away is that?
It's in LA.
Oh my gosh. They're going to have an Uber driver drive you the transmission?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Racing is ridiculous. It's what we specialize in.
Yeah. Holy moly.
The weekend started out perfect. We were fast in the first session, and it was coming to me and to Dr. Jim just like I was hoping it would. And then it was the second session, which was our last session before qualifying, and Dr. Jim lost it exiting the carousel and hit the wall really hard and completely destroyed the number 17 Porsche. So it was like, oh no, what are we gonna do? How can we recover from this? Luckily, Kevin had decided to make his re-entry into racing and was also out practicing with us and was getting ready to qualify in the backup car. And you know, it just says a lot about the team owner when he looks at our situation and says, you guys have a lot of friends and family and everybody here. I can do this another time. You guys use the backup car. Go qualify and go have a good race. So that's ultimately what Kevin did, and everything was kind of coming back to us. Although I've had a kind of a rough history with that backup car. It's the car that I crashed really hard in Virginia last year, and you put all that stuff out of your head, but sometimes you wonder if it's kind of still there. So race 1 came. Dr. Jim did exactly what he was supposed to do. He went out, kept us on the lead lap. We had a perfect driver change and pit stop. And I went out, was just handily in third place. Nothing really to gain ahead of me, nothing to really lose behind me, but I was so focused on being fast and just kept pushing, and I lost it, and I ended up hitting the wall in the backup car. So now we're 2 crashed cars into the weekend. Didn't finish the first race, which was not what we needed. We need every single point we can get. So that was a huge disappointment. That was hard for me to get past. I didn't do my job, and I'm pretty hard on myself when I don't do my job.
Freaking destroyed. Destroyed. Go to the house. It's done. It's over.
We may have to do something to move the tires back into place.
A prerequisite and a requirement that we do send a medical vehicle out there because, as I've said a number of times, it is the priority of the series.
Hey. I feel like I'm gonna throw. Are you okay, hon?
I'm fine, but just sport. I'm done with it. I'm done racing.
Just don't be so hard on yourself. Just take a breath, take a minute. This is just how it is sometimes. You're okay, that's what's important, right? You're okay?
Fine. A little hit. I don't know if what I did made it worse or helped.
What exactly happened that you remember?
The car was just really loose in the back and it stepped out and I couldn't save it. I was sliding through the grass and it spun, and then as I was going backwards, I tried to spin it back the other way to move me away from the wall, and then that made the front hit. But I think if I would have hit that way, the whole back would have hit, which would have been worse. Kevin's gonna be so pissed.
Well, think of all the stuff that you've done for Kevin. Like, it happens. This is racing. It's obviously this weekend there's something weird. It's just not going as planned. Nothing. And it's just the way it is. You're doing the best that you can. That's all you can do.
You know, everyone's out here racing. We're not, hitting golf balls. It's a lot more risky, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Derek's a fantastic driver. He's always got great judgment, and so all of us trying to push the car in certain areas a little bit more. He said that, we got a little bit squirrely. It's hot out right now. That means it's greasy, and there's a lot of cars and a lot of stuff on the track. And he got loose in one of the corners, and it was fast. So anyway, hit the tires. it is what it is. If he wasn't pushing it, he wouldn't be a race car driver. And he's had I've known Derek now for 5 seasons, going on this season. And he's always smart, he's always safe. One of the best guys I'd love to have in the car. We're in Daytona and stuff. So, he's had a couple unlucky breaks, but that's just part of what we do. But we're a team. We support each other, up and down, and he's my friend, and that's probably most important. So, we're going to move on and be better because of it. That's it.
Why do you think that happened? You just think you were pushing like really hard and you maybe didn't need to, or the car was not handling correctly? I mean, what was it?
I wish I could put a thumb exactly on what happened. It's always easier in retrospect to be outside the car and look at what the situation was. I didn't really, in that moment, know that there was nothing to gain or nothing to lose. There was no way I could have got second place, and there was no way fourth place could have happened without something catastrophic happening. So it was just not knowing when to just kind of pull back, go into cruise control, and just finish. And no matter what level in racing you are, you're always learning something. So lesson learned on that one, and we live to fight another day.
I remember when I saw you walking up from after the crash, and first I saw the car come in. I was like, oh no, no, and then I couldn't see you for a while, and it was like a feeling of panic. It's just that out of control feeling when your husband's been in a crash. I could hear him on the radio, so I knew he was talking. That was good. It's always good. But waiting to actually see him is always hard after those moments.
Yeah.
And then also just knowing how down and upset he was gonna be was also I was preparing myself for that because I tend to take on energy. So, and then we reviewed data and kind of didn't find anything glaring with the car.
The car was misbehaving, and I knew that, but I felt like I could just drive through everything, and that was another lesson learned. I should have just realized what I had, pulled it back to 9/10 and just cruised. Mm-hmm. But we got through it, and it's just, you feel so bad for the team because they've been working tirelessly to get the number 17 put back together. And now there's another crashed car for them to fix. But luckily they had a few days, from Dr. Jim's incident, and they had the number 17 put back together for us to start race 2. Had a really good start, ran a really good stint in the race. We executed the driver change and pit stop perfectly. Dr. Jim put in probably one of his best performances of the season, and we ended up second place, spraying champagne and having a good time. So it was a good end to the weekend and lots of lessons learned.
We had a conversation in the car after it was all said and done, and that was telling. I was really curious where Derek was at with everything. I don't always understand all the parts and pieces, so I had asked him some questions in the car, and that kind of helped me get a grasp on what had happened. Were you saying Fastlife is a stupid idea?
No, but I'm feeling like driving race cars might be.
Why? Just because you had one wreck?
Yeah. I'm on the spot where I can afford to do that. I'm trying to establish myself as a pro, and I'm in a spot too, and I just did the worst thing that a pro could do.
Well, do you feel like
times 3.
Do you feel like it was a decision that you made while in the car? Do you feel like your ego got involved and you were trying to prove yourself to the people that are here?
Yeah. Because I wanted to go turn lap times that the leaders are turning and start to catch the field and maybe have a chance to get second.
I think it's just kind of like a patience thing, another patience lesson.
Yeah. Might be done with that.
Well, you're going to have to learn it somewhere else. If you don't learn it in racing, you're going to have to learn it in another area of life. So you might as well learn it doing something that you love and just own this mistake. There were other issues with the car. It wasn't all you. There was stuff in there that had you rattled.
I hate the car.
Well, and you kind of got, it was presented as if it was saving you, but you didn't want to drive it.
It would have if I would have just done my job, but I didn't do my job. I went and I had a driver ego and I crashed the car.
Well, every driver could probably tell you a story like that. At least you're admitting it and owning it. Now you just have to move through it and do something different next time. You know all this stuff. I'm just trying to help you out. So do you have to pay for that crash damage?
news is I have it. It'd really suck if you didn't have it.
You have it in like a racing account, or is that coming out of our personal?
No, I have it in my racing account. Just damn, I'm not profitable.
I don't know if you can get that perspective that you have now, having everything go smooth all the time. I feel like you have to go through hard stuff like that to like be able to like put it in the right perspective.
I think you have to be willing to not do it though too. 'Cause you can't just keep being the one that pushes so hard to do something that you really shouldn't be doing because it's not really set up right. Like, I'm not like the other guys that are out there that can just, you know, most of these guys are spending all this money to be here, and they're crashing 4 times a year, and it's fine. Like, if you're doing something and you have one crash and it makes you feel like you should hang up your helmet because you can't afford for it to happen again, then how good are you going to do in the next race? I can't take any chances, which means I can't be fast. And if I can't be fast, I can't win. And if I can't win, I don't want to do it.
God has a plan. I believe that. So let's just trust that. Just ask God if you're supposed to continue to present the right opportunity so that you can go give it all you got. Okay?
Okay. I just feel like going and crying.
Well, you might need to. It's okay too. There's nothing wrong with tears. They're cleansing.
I know that you had been praying and wishing for this moment for a long time, and you actually finally had Fastlife help. You had Haley and Chase there doing their things, and then you had Alec, the new intern that's helping us to hopefully be moving the needle with this thing. How was it having Alec there?
It was so nice having Alec there, but it was also really hard for me because I'm so controlling. Like I am controlling. Maybe that's being too hard on myself, but like also it's just like my baby. Like I've had this show and I've been like just hanging on to it for dear life and pushing for it for like 3 or 4 years. And then to have somebody else on board with new ideas, which I knew were good, but like a different approach to how to film, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm surprised actually he's still with us after that weekend, because I was like, hey, listen to me, do it this way. And but actually, ultimately, the footage that he got was amazing, and it just increased like the quality of everything that we were doing when I got home and looked at it. But during the weekend, I really struggled with releasing that control, but also retaining the control that I needed to still direct it, because I did have the value of experience and knowing what the story is, all the parts and pieces. So I think it was just an interesting transitional time for me as a filmmaker to learn how to work and direct others and also accept ideas from others, and just kind of release a little bit of control there. So I think overall though, it was funny to watch the weekend evolve, because we started with just shooting like high quality cinematic shots and not much storyline, which is storyline is always what I'm doing, always with Derek and with my camera, and mostly with the iPhone, which isn't really working anymore. It's a great camera for the beginner stuff, you know? So I tried out a couple different cameras, and ultimately by the end of the weekend, we ended up with me with a little GoPro, which is like this tiny little camera.
There you go. I'm sure it'll be a huge learning process for the rest of the year, but I'm glad you finally have some help, because
Me too.
I've been watching you like slaving behind the iPhone and the computer till like the wee hours of the morning. So.
Ugh, yeah. We're not gonna do that anymore. We're gonna have work-life balance, and I'm gonna take care of myself so that I can keep doing this. After Sonoma, after all the action at Sonoma and the new fresh energy we had come into Fastlife, we got to look forward to heading to Portland for our hometown race, because we're Oregonians, and I'm from Portland, Derek's from Southern Oregon, and there was a Portland race coming up, and Fastlife was sponsoring that one. So Fastlife really has gotten like a lot of energy infused into it recently.
We're just trying like crazy to get it out there and get people to see it. So being a part of the Indy 500, being the presenting sponsor for the race is feeling like a really cool deal. And we kind of started the promotion of that at Sonoma. You know, we had the advertising on the car, the text to message, and hopefully it helps move the needle. We hope lots of people will watch us in these amazing interviews.
And we hope that we can get this BOP and all the stuff figured out with the car so Portland can be a success, right?
Yeah, people do like to watch winners. Trying really hard.
Thank you for following Fastlife TV. Please subscribe for weekly updates about our new content and share us with your friends.